What's up, guys? It's Oblivious Gamer here, and well, this is gonna be my brief impressions after playing the Visions of Mana demo that just came out recently. So, Visions of Mana, for those that don't know, is an upcoming action role-playing game developed by Ouka Studios and published by Square Enix. It's coming out for the PS4, PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. This game is supposed to come out August 29th, 2024, and this is the 5th main title in the Mana series. Now, a thing to take note is the game was first announced back in 2021, and this is technically the first mainline game in the series to be released since Dawn of Mana in 2006. My overall impressions is it's alright. Like, I personally don't feel it's bad, but I don't feel it's amazing. I think this is gonna be one of those games that you're either gonna like it or you're gonna hate it. There are situations where you could be in the middle, but I think you're gonna have the two camps mainly of people just being like, it's horrible, or people being like, no, it's good. It does the job, it's fun. So if you're somebody who's like curious or interested, or you have a history with the Mana series, I definitely recommend to try the demo so you can have an idea if this is going to be a game for you, because I feel it's going to give you a good idea where you're going to land so you don't waste your money. Now, Visions of Mana is set in a fantasy world where you control Val, a young man from the fire village of Tiania, and you're with your childhood friend Hina as you're undergoing the pilgrimage to the sacred Mana tree. And basically, Val is her guardian, and he's supposed to escort her to the Mana tree, and that's how the adventure begins, and you meet your other companions. In the demo, you get to play also as Morley, a catman, and Karina, a half-human, half-dragon. Personally, out of all my characters, I think Morley has been the most fun, mainly because he is agile. I think he uses daggers as weapons, and with his tail, he's able to wield like a third dagger, and I thought that was pretty interesting and cool. Karina was also fun. With Val, I don't know, I'm not too much like a heavy sword user, so I wasn't having as much fun. But in terms of gameplay, this is an action game. So it's an action RPG. You got combos that you can do. You can juggle opponents in the air. You can dodge. You can jump. And I think the combat is very serviceable. You got your normal attacks, and then you got like a strong attack, and then you can combine those with magic that uses mana buffs, or being able to use specific elements on your weapons. Then you also have the ability to use like powers from like spirit vessels, which like grant you like different abilities and different power-ups. Like, for example, one of them was able to like create an area where like opponents slow down. Another one's like throwing like wind attacks. So the gist of the combat is gonna come with you being able to, mix and match. That's where it's gonna like the depth I feel is gonna come. But in plain sight, if you really aren't experimenting or trying things out, it's gonna feel very shallow. But I think once you unlock, because there's obviously a skill tree, and you can unlock like moves, buffs, new magic. And for example, with Morley, like I unlock like an attack where like if you do the strong attack and then you press, he does like multiple dashes, and you can also do it in the air. And I was like, oh, that's an addition now to like the combo that I can do. So I personally feel this is going to be a game where like you will have to unlock, and that's like unlock moves and abilities, and that's how like the combat is going to get more interesting. And obviously you experimenting with the magic and different like elements and using your spirit vessels. Because once I started like getting more intricate with them, I thought the combat improved a bit. Now, this is not to say this like, holy shit, it blew me away, but it did get a lot better than my initial take when I was like just learning. So the combat is alright. The art style, very vibrant, very unique. I think it looks good for what they're trying to accomplish. The world looks fine. Nothing crazy, at least to stand out to me. You get some open areas that you're able to explore, find chests, loot, being able to do side quests. There's also challenges that you can take, which I've tried to do some of them. You're gonna get like pickles, which are like animals that you can mount. Once you get them, you can just roam around and They're very quick to move. Overall, like, for me, it was like an alright experience. Now, I do have some complaints. The first one is I played on the PS5. I did have moments where my frame rate dropped, and there's some moments where, like, combat, everything just slowed down and just became very sluggish. Some moments in the town, everything, like, slowed down and became sluggish. So there are a lot of moments where, like, the frame rate will just drop and you can feel it.
Take this! I'll do it. We can still fight. Use this. There's more? Try
And for a game like this, especially like I selected performance mode, it's just not hitting it when it gets too hectic, especially with like abilities blowing up, there's particle effects, there's like a ton of enemies, and I feel like this is something they need to take care of, especially for an action game. The other problem is I don't like too much, like, you can lock on enemies, and I feel it's not that great with the camera, how it works. I feel they need to get better with that. It feels like it just sucks when you're trying to, I just rather not lock on to enemies. And movement is alright. I think that's gonna really depend on you. If you like it, you feel it's slow, or you feel it's like sluggish, or you feel like it does the job. I would say the other flaw of this demo is there's a lot of like texting, there's a lot of reading they have to do. It's too much because obviously the demo drops you in the middle of the game. So it's not starting from the beginning, and it's not like teaching you and building you up to be able to understand a lot of the mechanics. Instead, there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of nuances because it's dropping you there, and I feel that can hurt the game. Like, yes, from a point, it's like, well, we want to show you guys how the game feels once you have party members, once you have some of your abilities, but it's also hard for, a lot of people to use, those abilities or follow the combat properly because we haven't been through the tutorial, we haven't been training. A lot of people are not going to read it. There's a lot of reading. So it's like a lot of people are just going to skip, and then just like, I'm just going to deal with it. And then a lot of people are going to be like, well, the combat sucks, I don't understand anything. So I feel that's kind of like one of those things when they release a demo like this, it can hurt in that regards. That's why I thought Final Fantasy 16, the demo, they did well, where you had a story demo, and it taught you the game, like it gave you the tutorial, and it gave you like a part. And then once you clear that, it gave you a section or like another mode to play where like was further into the game once you had more abilities, and you were able to like, hey, here's how the game would feel once you have a lot of your abilities. And obviously you went through a tutorial, so it was a lot more digestible when you were trying the other mode. I think they should have done that. I think for this demo they should have done the intro, give us a tutorial, and then have like separate mode that's like further in the game where you have all your abilities and you're able to like do all the, you take advantage of the combat system, because it's going to happen. People are going to be lost. There's going to be probably a lot of stuff. Even myself, I don't feel like I can 100% tell you, hey, I understand this completely. And once I go through the tutorial, and once I take the proper steps, then I'll be like, okay, I have a good idea how this works. But that's just me. So I really believe this is going to be a game that you will like it or you will hate it. And sometimes you might fall in the middle, which is fun. But I think this is just one of those typical RPGs that Square sometimes releases. We had Star Ocean, Valkyrie Chronicles. They're just like, they put it out there. They're old series with a lot of history. And a lot of these games are alright. Like, they're not going to blow you away. And most of the time, it ends up being like either people like it or hated it. Those seems to be the two spectrums that we get. That's not, like I said, that's not going to say that you cannot fall in the middle, but it seems to be there between those two sides. So will I get the game? I'm still gonna try it out when it comes out. Nothing that blew me away, but it was fun. I had a good time. I enjoyed the combat. I enjoy a lot of the characters and the art style. So for me, I will be getting in. But like I said, try the demo. Really, it's gonna tell you what it is and if you're gonna like it or not. As always though, guys, what are your thoughts? This has been Oblivious Gamer, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.